Hey, Leslie M. Thornton, Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. Excited to tell you this topic today. So, money, weight loss, and law of attraction. Money, weight loss, and law of attraction. The tie. Really excited to bring you this topic today. It's incredibly vital for us to understand. And I'm going to start out by telling a story. Yesterday, I was interviewed for Nikki Colmoni's podcast, and she has a podcast called Witchy Weight Loss. She's also a coach in the mastermind program and front end program, right, for hypnosis. She does intuitive eating, just fantastic intuitive eating coach, and really helps to get people free from food obsession the way that we do at Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss as well. So the way we started was she was telling me that she was a couple minutes late to our podcast interview because she just got off a kickoff call with a brand new client that she had in her program who could not find a way to financially make it happen for herself where she could actually join Nikki's program and start her food freedom journey. And so Nikki was supporting this woman because she really wanted to do the program. She knew she needed it, right? She was a yes. It was just, how can I, right? And Nikki supported her in actually starting a GoFundMe account to actually find the funds, right? And ask for donations for her to be able to do this. And for some of you, you're like, oh my gosh, I would never do that. How embarrassing. People are going to donate to this cause and me having to get past my food obsession or whatever. But let me finish this story. So Nikki helps her put this post up, and she puts it up, and someone in Nikki's program actually responded and said, hey, I'd like to pay for this woman's entire program. It was a complete stranger to her, right? She had never met her before, but she was like, Nikki, I've gotten so much. I'm free from food and I want to give it back. This woman deserves to have what I have today. And so she just got off this Nikki kickoff call with Nikki. That was fun. And was completely blown away by the fact that someone just paid for her entire program. And it brought me back to this memory that I had from my past where I wanted to travel the world. It was always a lifelong dream I had, but was still working really hard, had my own business. I don't know how I'm ever going to make enough money to actually be able to travel the world. So what did I do? I worked my butt off for years. I stayed in my hometown, Albany, New York, for 6 years. You know, I made sacrifices. I stayed at home. I paid low rent. I, did all of these things to make ends meet, but I wasn't actually being honest with myself. And I was buying into this fear that first I have to make the money and then I'm going to travel. Okay. And so many people, I can't tell you how many people I talk to that think, first, I need to lose the weight, and then I'm actually going to take action on my life, right? First, I need to lose the weight, and then I'm going to be able to get into that relationship. First, I need to lose the weight, and then I'm going to be able to get the job that I want. First, I'm going to lose the weight, and then, right? And I've been speaking with a lot of people over the last couple weeks who they know that they want the Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss program. We get to the source of why they haven't been able to lose weight and keep it off in the past, right? Foundational reason. And they are an absolute yes to the program. And then we get to part of the conversation about, the investment. And it's like, I can't afford that. Now, in certain situations, right? You're in bankruptcy, you're trying to build a house, right? It's like impossible for you to actually do that. But what if you were like this woman who starts a GoFundMe account and actually has a miracle happen? Now, when we talk about law of attraction, so it's kind of a buzzword. Maybe you've watched The Secret or you know all about it, or maybe you know just a little bit about it, or maybe you know nothing about it at all. But basically with law of attraction, it's like attracts like, okay? And for example, I was joining a mastermind group and I was feeling kind of stuck and small in my life. I didn't have a social network of other, really amazing women and coaches that were up to great things and go-getters. And I had this opportunity to join this mastermind. There was a great investment rate. It was $10,000. I probably had maybe $3,000 or something like that. And, so the money wasn't there, right? But I knew that if I could just hang out with other people who were also investing in themselves at this rate, that it would raise my vibration, right? That it would actually accelerate my ability to get to where it is that I want to go. Now, Did I actually know that? No. And that's the thing is like, it was scary for me every day for like a month or two before this program started. After I said yes to making, having this payment plan to pay this $10,000 that I did not have, but knowing that in order to get to where I wanted to go in my life, I needed to do something different, right? I needed to step out of my comfort zone. I said yes. So every day I'm scared, every day I'm saying whatever, but having that courage, right, to walk that line of faith and say, what if I can? Like, what if I can trust? What if I can have faith that this is actually going to work? Like, this is going to bring me to all these different areas in my life. And guess what? It did, because I'm now playing with other people who are valuing themselves at the same level that I am, right? So this is law of attraction, right? And money has a vibration. The thoughts that we think have a vibration, right? The people that you meet have a vibration, right? You might meet someone, you're like, wow, who is that person, right? You can like feel that they have a different energy or there's something different about that person. Guess what? They're probably getting coached or they probably do work on themselves or personal development, right? And for some of you, you've never done that, right? I can't tell you how many people that I talk to, you care about so many other people, you have young children at home, right? There's all these reasons, and valid, right? Society says, like, I got to make sure that I, do all this before that, right? Or I got to wait until the kids, are in college and then I'll take care of myself. But how much sense does that make? Right? It's like, what if you're like super unhappy and way more overweight in the future because you're putting off taking care of yourself until then? Right? Which brings us back to the conversation about law of attraction and not putting things off, right? And actually taking action on things and not letting the fear thoughts run the show. All right. So with my experience, so I was being that way, right? Of I can't do this. I can't travel the world until I have at least $10,000, right? And I remembered my coaching of, can we start a GoFundMe account? Like, what can we do to help you raise this money or make this money or create this money, right? Rather than fall into that scarcity place of, it's impossible for me. I can't do it. I have debt. I was taught as a young child that debt is bad, right? Whatever. The list goes on of reasons and justifications for why we can't actually spend the money. Now, what I say to people is, I would rather have you say no and make an empowered choice. Like, I would rather take care of this sounds bad, but I would rather invest my money in having, new beautiful furniture in my home than worrying about getting past my food prison or, whatever experience I'm having with food, body obsession, all of this kind of stuff. Great. Own it, right? That's your truth. And I support you all the way. What I really have a problem with is when people continue to stay in a place where they feel like they can't do it, right? Where they feel disempowered and they feel like it's not possible. And the reason I hate that, not because I'm judging that person, if you're somebody I've talked to recently or even in the past and this has been your situation, still love you, still thinking about you, still want you to do this. And I've just had so many people lately who have been in this financial situation that I just felt inspired to come on here and make this video about what's possible when you actually step towards that fear. Okay, so I, was like, oh my gosh, I can't post a GoFundMe account. That's embarrassing. It's for a selfish reason of me traveling the world, right? Who's going to see it? What if I don't make any money? What if I fail? Like, all those normal things are there. Here's what makes the difference. I did it anyway. Now, here's the kicker. I put up the GoFundMe account. I never made any money from the GoFundMe account. But simply because I took the action and said yes to doing what it was that I said I do, and saying to the universe, basically, I'm literally willing to do whatever it takes to do exactly what it is that I want, and here's how serious I am. Within 6 months or 4 months or something like that, all of a sudden my business just completely, because I started saying yes to just doing what I wanted and not listening to that voice in my head telling me that I can't, or it's shameful, or it's embarrassing, or I shouldn't. And every single time, so 4 months, 6 months later, I had exactly $10,000 in my bank account, right? The traveling group that I wanted to do the digital nomad group with for people who can work from anywhere shows up in my, right on my doorstep. None of that would have been possible if I didn't say yes, right? And gone towards the thing that I didn't want to do, right? Every single time. I have a client in my mastermind right now. She knows who she is. And she had written on her goals that she wanted to hire a personal trainer and she wanted to make her office beautiful and continue furnishing her home. And she was starting to feel this scarcity feeling in her body, right? And what I was saying to her is, do you think it's possible that because you're not taking action on those things that you really want now, that it's causing you to stay stuck? Right? And recently she's been having relationship issues because she's, feeling the fear of not having enough money. And so she was applying pressure to her husband to make more, right? And also, just continuing to stay stuck with her food because probably that stress of scarcity, right? Of not taking action and procrastinating on what it is that you want to do and putting it off until later, right? Is causing her to actually eat more, right? Or stay stuck in this area. Okay. And it prevents everything from being able to work. Okay, and this might sound like an airy-fairy concept, and it is kind of. The only way that you can actually do it is being brave enough to say yes and test it out yourself, right? Like, will I completely fail if I put debt on my credit card, right? Or will the universe actually pay me back because I said yes to myself, right? And in my experience, absolutely every single time that I say yes to doing what I know is right for me, right? And I'm not saying, I'm not a car salesman where it's like I'm talking about changing your life and getting you to stop thinking about food 95% of your day, which I know for most of you watching this, that's the case. And it's completely impacting your life. You have no idea. I just got off the phone with one of my clients who's been with me for over a year. And wow, I could even read exactly. She was saying that the point is I no longer believe that I have to lose the weight in order to do anything I want in my life, right? That's really been her journey. She was saying like, oh, I can't get a husband until I lose the weight, or I can't up-level my business until I lose the weight. These are the stories that her family was telling her, right? And deeply ingrained in her brain that was true. But until she actually took that action and faced her fear, right? And she financially was scared too. Oh my gosh, I can't pay this. I need to ask my mom's permission, right? People need to ask their spouse's permission. People aren't going to get that approval. All of that stuff is there, and it's always going to be there unless you're the one who's like, oh, this is my awareness. Every time it comes to something that feels expensive to me, I stop. Every time that has to do with money and paying anything, I stop. Right? There's this awesome woman who's actually going to start with us in just a few months. She put down her deposit, right? When I first talked to her, she's like, I'm a teacher. I don't make that kind of money, right? And we found that she actually had beliefs that, wealthy people have no understanding for people who have jobs like that, right? And I got to ask her about, I was like, do you think it's possible that belief that you have around money and about wealthy people and this and that and the other thing is the thing holding you back from being able to get past all of your food obsession and every other area of your life that's stuck right now? And she was awesome and super open to coaching. And she's like, absolutely, I can really see that. Okay. And then she actually took the first step of putting down the deposit and getting herself ready to start as soon as she saves up the money and she's ready to start later. Right? Her life will never be the same again. Right? Because now she's going to have ingrained in her brain that when I take steps outside of my comfort zone, then always good things come back towards what it is that I want. Then always good things come back. Right? And, debt was bad in my family, right? At least that was the message that I got. Not sure exactly how, but it was like, oh my gosh, don't go into debt. That's the worst thing ever. Okay, but when it comes to investing in yourself, it's like, how are you not going to be paid back times 100? Think about it, your kids are always going to love themselves and their bodies for the rest of their life because they have a mom or dad that does the same. Right? And, I was just talking to a woman today. She's in a relationship that is not working at all. Right? And we got very clear on what needed to be done. But she has this scared feeling of like, if I leave the relationship, I'm going to financially fail. Right? And I understand that it's like, yes, we can look at that. We might even need to file bankruptcy. It's like worst case scenario, so embarrassing. But what if we had faith that the universe always has our back? What if when we said yes to the things that we know are serving our lives in a way that is super powerful, This work is so powerful. I talk to people all day long and they're like, I'm not binging. I love myself now. I have a boyfriend. I have a relationship. My marriage is better. Like all areas of their life are firing on all cylinders. And happy side effect, my pants are looser, but I don't really care about the weight anymore. I barely think about it. I'm just feeling great about myself and taking care of myself and wanting to go for walks, right? All of these kinds of things. All right. So, do you have a money mindset that is not serving you? Okay. And just know it's not your fault. But your job is to become aware of, does money stop me every time? Right? Am I believing that I'm not capable of creating more? Right? Is there a belief that nobody is there to support me, or nobody cares about me, or nobody understands me? How is that belief helping you? Because it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't be holding on to it. Right? So I'm going to say that again. If you have a belief like, no one understands me, I can't do it, I'm not capable, I'm not able, nobody loves me, nobody appreciates me, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You actually are getting something good from believing that thought. Now, what good could you get? Oh, well, you don't have to take action outside your comfort zone. You don't have to scare yourself to do something that you don't want to do. Right? Because it's painful to take action. It's painful to grow. It's not easy at all. Right? But is it more or less painful than staying where you are at for the rest of your life? Okay, because if you don't change, nothing is going to change. If you don't take different actions in a different way, you're going to get the same results over and over again. Right? Going back to that thing about the person who had the relationship that wasn't working, it was abusive. Right? And I got to say to her, okay, so it sounds like your mom also was abusive. Yes, she absolutely was. So there's a part of you that's still trying to heal that part of you from the past by being in this relationship to prove that really I am a bad person. Right? Whatever kind of relationship you're in and whatever dynamic is coming back is a mirror into the way that you think about yourself and the way that you're feeling about yourself. Right? And that can be a tough pill to swallow, but it's an opportunity to actually heal those patterns from the past if you have the support to do that. Right? But if not, the pattern and cycle of abuse continues. So even if you leave that relationship, you'll probably end up in another one because you're not working on yourself. You're not healing these parts of yourself, right? I have a family member in my family who, in this relationship, and I talked to her and I was like, I hate that you're in this relationship. It sounds so bad. Like, you're such a great person. Why are you in it? Right? But it's because she hadn't delved into, and now she has support from a coach on our team, actually. And she's now feeling so much better about herself, and she's letting go of those old ties, and it doesn't happen overnight, right? Because we got to heal what's going on within you. Okay, so the same thing with a, abusive relationship or any relationship that's not working. You have a relationship with money, right? And if that relationship with money stays the same, you're going to stay the same. If you have aspirations to grow in your life and have abundance and feel safe and feel, all the things that comes along with growth and up leveling, but you're not actually tackling your beliefs about money mindset and taking action outside your comfort zone when it comes to money, you're going to stay in the exact same position. And not only that, you're going to, whatever relationship or partner or whatever that you have in your life, you're going to have a similar money mindset and you're going to stay stuck. And I don't want that for you, right? But like I was saying to this woman just earlier today, it's like, nobody's coming. I used to wait for the day of being like, oh, one day a man is going to come and buy me a house and, all these kinds of, whatever. I had this fairy tale dream of what that was going to look like. And realizing that unless I'm actually going to take those actions, none of that's going to happen. Nobody's coming, girl. You got to just take the actions as if, you're the only one you got. Because let me tell you, that's what's true. You are the only one you have. Ain't nobody coming, right? We're here to support you. I've always needed support to get past these things from somebody else who's done it, right? But I can't take that first step for you. Right? And what I said to this woman was, it's not about you doing the program at this point. It's realizing that with the amount of stuckness that you're in, unless you do something drastic and scare yourself and take action way out of your comfort zone, including being terrified that your 12-year-old, and yourself aren't going to have a home anymore. That's terrifying. But I have a client in my program who in the past, to get out of a bad relationship, she moved her kids and herself to a homeless shelter until she found a way to make it work for herself. Now that is extreme and drastic. Is there a family member you could live with? Is there something else that you can do? Resourcefulness is one of the mandatory ways of being required to be successful in a coaching program and in life. Okay? So if you're always relying on other people, or it's whatever story you keep telling yourself over and over again. I never have enough money. I can't make it happen. I can't lose weight, right? You've been saying it year after year after year. Guess what? It's you. You're in the way. It's not your fault. It's your mind's. But the only way to get out of it is to take action outside your comfort zone and do something completely different and something that, right? But if you're an overspender, then your action step might be to get coaching on how not to spend as much, right? It's the opposite of what you're normally doing. Once you start doing that, law of attraction kicks in and you are taken care of every time. But again, I could say that 100 times. It's not going to make it any easier for you to take that action step. Okay, so if you know that the only thing that's holding you back is money when it comes to your getting food freedom, my invitation to you is to get past that and start spending that money even though it scares you to death. Or at least getting resourceful. Who can you ask? What can you sell? Can you put up a GoFundMe account? Right? When you're taking those actions, you've maybe seen the interview with Lisa, who's on my team. She refinanced the family van, right? She knew that her husband was probably going to be super mad at her and she faced the fear of abandonment, right? And now she's on my team and she's kicking butts and she just took a meditation training and she's totally mastering emotional mastery and helping so many people, being a fantastic mom, right? But she's resourceful. She's taking action outside of her comfort zone. Right? She's going after what it is that she wants. This is what it takes to be successful. Okay? Nobody's going to push you across the finish line. Nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do. But ask yourself the question, am I okay with staying here? Am I okay with staying stuck? Am I okay with waiting for this possible someday, one day when something's going to change? Nothing's going to change until you change it. So take action today. Write in the chat if you're on Facebook. What are you getting from this? What action can you take? What are you scared of? What do you want to be doing? What money do you want to spend, but you're not spending it, right? And realize that by you continuing to buy into that fear is what's causing you to stay stuck. It's what's causing you to procrastinate more. It's causing more weight gain, right? This woman identified that it had nothing to do. She was eating and drinking because she was so unhappy with the relationship, but she wasn't taking any actual action on the relationship and getting out of it. So I said, okay, so can you see yourself being happy long-term in this relationship? Her answer immediately was no. Okay, then we need to work on that. Nothing's happening unless you're happening, right? So take a look at your finances. What's happening there, right? Get the support that you need. Instead of, I can't do it, right? It's how can I? Right? How can I make it happen? When you have that mindset and you approach anything that you want, with that way of thinking and feeling and acting, everything starts to work and you will be given the way, right? I didn't make any money from the GoFundMe account. Whether the action works or not, it's your courageous action of go, do another one, do another one, do another one. Okay, that didn't work. They said no. What else can I try? Said no. What else can I try? Okay, maybe the universe is trying to teach me a lesson that I have to do this by myself. So can I take on a part-time job? How else can I make money? There's so many ways. Right? Just don't say no to yourself so quickly, or don't let other people's reactions to what it is that you want to do stop you from doing what it is that you want to do. It's gonna make your life awful and bad forever. Say yes to you. You're worth it. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.